Okay guys, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to use a selection tool to create rectangles, squares, rectangles with curved edges on it, circles. These are called soft edges on a rectangle and a soft edge on a circle. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up just a blank canvas. Hit Control N, click OK. Notice the width is 640 by 400. You hit OK. If you look up here, it says 640 by 400. That kind of shows you where it's at. Alright, so we're going to come to our rectangle select tool, click it, and then you just drag it. Hold your mouse key, left mouse button down, drag it. You can rearrange it if you want by clicking on any of these corners or the sides. It's kind of up to you, however you want to rearrange it. Then if you click in the middle, you get this little cross there, and you can move the shape wherever you want it. So we've made our selection. We're going to go to the fill tool and make it black. All right, now let's make a square. We're going to go back to our selection tool, and where it says fixed, that keeps the ratios fixed for the selection tool. So when I make my square, when I drag it, it just stays in a square. All right, so I'm going to leave it about like that. I'm going to double click on this foreground color. Notice it says foreground. That's the background color. You can change those. I'm going to click in the middle and just go to the top right hand corner, and for red the hue is 0, and then you got your saturation and value 100 100. These three determine a color, just like RGB. This is the same thing. For red and RGB it'd be 255. Just click OK, come to your fill tool and fill that up. Alright, now we're going to make one rectangle with curved edges. So if you look down here, it says rounded corners, and so I'm going to drag it, but it's still a square, so I'm going to uncheck it. I'm going to re-drag it onto another one, and notice it has small corners. Now you can see how it's the more you drag it, the greater the circle becomes on that corner. Alright, so we're going to change this to blue. Let me just make sure. Yeah, change it to blue. Double click right, and blue is about 240. Hit OK. Go to my fill tool and fill it in. You see how you have that selection around there? If you want to ever get rid of the selection, hit Control A, and that removes it. Alright, and then the next one is going to be a yellow circle. So we're going to go to the ellipse tool. You need to click on the fixed, check, and then just drag your circle, kind of place it where you want it to go, and we're going to make it yellow. So I can kind of work with two colors at once by clicking this with the foreground and background. I'm going to go to my yellow, which is about 60 on a hue. But I've got to click on it. Notice it's still white here. If I click in here and then hold and drag it up to the top right hand corner, then it turns yellow. Hit OK. Come to my fill tool, fill it up. Alright. Now we're going to do one with soft edges. So I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool, and your soft edges is called feathered edges. So you can click on that and you can determine how soft you want it, or really kind of how blurry you want it, or if you want, rounded corners. So I'm going to go ahead and drag my rectangle. I'm going to make it green, and green is 120. I'm going to drag it all the way to the top right hand corner, hit OK. Get my fill bucket, fill it up. I'm going to hit Control A to get rid of that selection. And you can see how it's a little blurry around the edges. I can change that blurry. I'm going to hit Control Z, which undoes what I just did. And then I'm going to go back to my rectangle select tool, and I'm going to make the feathered, say, let's make it 50 and see how it changes it. And I'm going to come fill it up. See the difference? I'm going to hit Control A. See the difference in blurry? You use that in pictures and different things. And then we're just going to go ahead and make a circle like that. It is on the fixed, so it's going to make it a circle, not an ellipse. And then I want it orange, so going to click here, go down to orange. I think orange is right about 40. Hit OK. The fill bucket. And hit Control A. And how come it didn't put blur, a feathered edge there? Well, let's go back, click on it. I didn't check feathered edges, so I'm going to undo it by hitting Control Z. And I'm going to click on feathered edges. And I'm going to go up to about, we can do even more just to show you the difference at 80. I'm going to click and drag, kind of put it where I want it. Come back to my fill tool, fill it up. And you can see how it's even a little bit more blurry on the edges, kind of spreads it out. Hit Control A, and there you go. Now just to finish up, we're going to go ahead and put my name on there. So I'm going to go to the text tool, which is A. When I do that, it's best to kind of set everything you want over here, all your options. And so I'm going to click on the little A button. I'm going to go to Sans Bold. And then, let's see, I'm going to try it at 20. And then what color? I could pick whatever color I want. I'm going to go ahead and go with black. So I could drag it to the top left-hand corner or right-hand corner, and it gives me black. Notice black is 000. Let's see. Yep. That's black. And I'm going to hit OK. And then you just come click wherever you want to put it. I'm going to click at the top right-hand corner. I'm just going to type Paul. Stay Belasco. And this is your move tool. And so you have to, in order to move your text, you have to actually click on the letter itself. And see how the box changes? And then you can kind of move it where you want it. Move it down here. Alright. Notice your layer. That's your text layer, and that's called your background. And we put all of these shapes on the same layer. Now to export it, you go to File. You don't save as. Save as saves it as a GIMP file, which is what we're working in this program. But to save it as a JPEG, you just hit Export. Okay? And then save it wherever you want to save it in Documents. And when you save it, use your last name, first name with a dash, rectangle selection, and then .jpeg. Okay? And then just hit export, and it'll save it to your document file. This will come up, and this just asks them what quality you want it. Lots of times it might start at 90. I always throw it to 100 and hit export. There you go.